Well, I think if they're getting relegated, right, it'll be only next year, correct?
No, but then I saw also they say actually the EFL, the Division 1 and 2, right, they have no obligation to accept Man City, no?
Yeah.
Wow.
Everybody, and welcome to the Football Kaki, brought to you by the Chit Podcast Network. I am your host, Eldad, and I'm joined today by my fellow Kaki bros, Paul, Jordan, and of course the original Kaki bro, my brother Midat. Welcome back to the podcast, man.
Hi. What's up, guys? How are you
What's
doing?
up?
What's
So
up?
coincidentally, Midak came back after our episode of about Liverpool, huh?
Yeah, it was like a week too late, but anyways, we're glad to have him back. So before we get into today's episode, I just want to check in with all three of you. How are you guys doing this week?
Good, bro, good.
Meh, for me.
Not too bad.
I'm not sure whether to be happy or sad yet, because Liverpool played
Yeah. Yep.
Just for this week.
Yeah. Just to bring back to the original point, right, that why I wasn't here for the Liverpool episode, right, because I want to talk about my favorite club, which is Manchester City, of course, today.
Wearing a red Manchester City.
Wearing a red Liverpool jersey. Wearing a red Liverpool jersey. All right. So before we get into it, I am quite happy because me and Jordan officially made a transaction earlier today. I am getting a PlayStation 5 from my brother over there.
Welcome to the club.
Yeah. So officially, right, I have all three type of gaming platforms. I got Xbox, I got PC, I got PS5. So yes,
No, one more.
I'm a very happy man now. Huh?
Nintendo.
Nintendo, never mind. Nintendo, I don't count. That one is a different thing. I will not get into. But thank you everybody for joining us today, for giving us a listen. So for today's topic, we are talking about all of us, our favorite club, Manchester City. As many of you know, we are United and Liverpool fans and Arsenal fans here, but there is no Man City fan. No.
Are you saying there's no Man City fan in general?
There's no Man City. I'm saying there's no Man City fan in our group. Here.
Because if you say in general, it's not wrong as well.
I will not take a strike at Man City right now. I will do that probably later, but I will not say anything right now at this moment. Today we're actually going to cover the big topics that have been covered surrounding Man City about their infringements on EPL rules, and also what are the potential punishments that are going to dish out. But before we get into it, we just want to give a shout out to all our listeners out there. Thank you for listening to us over the past few weeks and months as we've been trying to get the Football Kaki off. And we hope that you will continue to listen and do continue to like and subscribe to the Chit Podcast Network and our YouTube channel, and of course follow us on Instagram. So before we get into it, boys, you ready?
Let's
go.
go.
Man City,
Ready, bro.
all of us love that club for a lot of reasons.
All
All right,
let's
so
go.
let's get into it right now. All right, boys. So as many of you know, Man City have been hit with a lot of controversy over the past few weeks, with them being understated after a 4-year investigation by the Premier League that they have actually infringed on 100+ Premier League rules. But we have to make it clear to everybody, right, that it is not 100 different rules. It is the same rules that have just been repeated over time, repeated offenses. So they are actually repeated infringements from a period of 2009 to 2010 all the way until the 2017-2018 season. More so towards the fair play rules and the losses towards the end. But we will get into that a little bit later on. So for a brief summary, a lot of the offenses have actually been more surrounding a few things. So one is definitely manager and player contracts. And when we say manager and player contracts, we mean that any type of remuneration, right, by right, according to the EPL rulebook, should be stated in full in the contract. But according to the league infringements, it seems that Man City did not actually state that for players and for managers, but have to make it clear that the only manager in question is actually Roberto Mancini. Manuel Pellegrini and Pep Guardiola are not part of this particular conversation for managerial infringements. But for players, there are quite a number, which they have not explicitly stated. The next and the most obvious one, of course, is they have been continuously been submitting their financial and records and their financial year projections for the following year, right, late. So for those who don't know, there's always a 31st of March deadline for every single year for those who are either in a UEFA competition or for the Premier League. So you have to, by right, according to the rules, submit all the required profit and loss, balance sheets, everything that is required for financial audit to the Premier League secretary by the 31st of March each year. But because Man City have not done that, they have been found guilty of this particular infringement. The next, of course, is the one thing that there is a specific rule which states that if the club itself feels that they have to inform the league about a particular or adverse situation that could potentially hinder their financial records, right? They actually have to be able to inform, which in terms City did not actually do. Yep. So that's one of the infringements that they've actually done. Next is they have, of course, as everybody know, not been following UEFA laws. One of the rules actually states that you have to be able to follow the competition laws or the federation laws of the league or the competition that you're actually participating in. So therefore, if City is participating in either the Europa League or the Champions League, they have to follow the UEFA laws, which is of course the financial fair play rules. And of course, the last one, which happens towards the end, is that they did not follow the rules regarding profitability and sustainability. So there is a rule which says that you kind of have to report or manage finances when you are facing $105 million or more in losses. So if you're facing that tough amount in losses, you're actually losing money every year. So boys, with all this particular summary, I got just one question. What is an adequate punishment to dish out to Manchester City right now?
Relegation! Immediate!
Immediate relegation for Paul.
Or
okay, what about
maybe like a 15-point deduction?
But you think 15-point deduction is adequate?
I mean, now and every single season that they committed the offense.
Wow.
So, yeah, what 150 points minus
150 points. Over
No,
the
as in,
long
like,
period
so,
of
as
season,
in,
you're talking
so
about 9
in
seasons.
in each of the 9 seasons, you minus 15 points from where they were standing.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah,
you're saying
so
that
in
minus 15 points.
2009, you minus 15, 2010, you minus 15, yeah.
But you think that's adequate?
Enough to get Liverpool and Man U their deserved titles.
Okay. Before I get into more into it, what do Jordan and Millet think? Like, George, what do you think?
Auto simulation 3-0 against Arsenal. No. I mean, to be fair, I always make, like, if you apply this thing to other club, you also apply to another club as well. So even to other sportings like cycling like that, like the Armstrong thing, he stripped all the trophy thing that he won, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And Juve just recently also a 15 points deduction. If I'm not wrong, it's not the first time so I would say, I mean, just join the Juve club just like a 15 points Yeah. I mean, like, to be honest, like, if next season without Man City, like, the EPL, like, no kick already.
That's kind of true. Yeah. What do you think?
I mean, I think it's also important for us to clarify that we're doing this like sort of punishment based on the speculative.
Yes.
That the ruling is that they are found guilty
Yes.
Correct. Yeah. So I mean, like, in the court of arbitration, they are still considered, like, at this moment they are labeled guilty based on the investigation, but in the court of law they are still considered innocent because it's innocent until proven guilty. So if you're asking me what should they get as a punishment based on if the foundings are found accurate, correct?
Guilty. Yeah.
Okay, then I would say that they deserve to get relegated. I agree because by right, I mean, I don't agree with the rule itself, financial fair play, because I think it's a very elitist rule. Like, it sort of keeps the elite on top. But at the same time, the rule is there for a reason. I mean, like, if there's a rule, if you're going to break the rule, then, I mean, you have to go and bear the consequences of it. So I feel that a fair result, because they've been doing it for such a prolonged period, it would have to be a relegation.
What about stripping of championships and trophies?
To be honest, I feel that it's very, what's the word? Like, very not say harsh, but I find it's very unfulfilling to get it second based on the fact that I mean, like, let's say, for instance, Liverpool, right? We had one season that we could have won, correct? Because Man City beat us for the title, right? I mean, like, I don't really want that title. like, I don't know about y'all, like Arsenal or Man U. Do you all want that title?
It's more of like finding them guilty than it's more fulfilling to see that they actually cheated,
Actually,
okay.
I mean, I see it as for like Armstrong itself is a personal sports. Like, also, like, cycling thing is more of a personal achievement than a club achievement. So therefore, I don't see a big hit on to those clubs who like, get stripped of those title thingy.
Yep.
Because they already use the money, they already use the funds already. How you gonna do? Just find them. That's all right.
Yeah. I think for me, right, my view is I do think they should get relegated. That's one. But I am also a bit more towards them having stripped of the titles, not because it adds another few trophies to United or to Liverpool's trophy cabinet. I think it's more of the fact that if you were breaking the rules at that particular point in time, which are there to be implemented, to be there for state competition, right, you shouldn't be able to have that reward still be there. Even though, yes, they do end up in a situation, they do look like, okay, I won the league based on merit at that particular point in time, which is fair. At that particular point in time, behind the scenes, nobody knew about these infringements, right? So they won the title based on merit. But then if you're talking about financial and you're talking about fair play and you're talking about all these things about the rule book and why it's there for the clubs to follow, and you win because of cheating or infringements, right? I don't think it's fair. To me, that is what I think my opinion is. So if you're talking about this, right, let's just do a cross comparison to one of the more like recent or like the more controversial things that has happened in another league, which is basically the Juve saga. And there's a documentary about it, the whole match fixing scandal and everything, right? I got this question. If let's say, for example, the match fixing thing is already quite bad already, how does that pale in comparison to this thing? To the Man City scandal? Which is worse?
I think the match fixing one is still worse because they really go and manipulate the result of the opponent's team. This one is they are just like making their team better, making their club stand a better chance to win the league, which they actually did in those years that they are allegedly found to be breaching the rules.
What about?
So I still feel that one is still worse.
Yeah, Millet, what do you think?
Yeah, but well, I do think that definitely the match fixing is worse. But I think also if you were to talk about the repercussions of the financial things, right? Actually, when you look at winning, right, in general, in sports or whatever, especially in football, right, it's really about the smallest like margin of victory that you can. Like, every small thing matters, every small transfer. So actually, when you think about it in the context of let's say, for instance, Arsenal or Liverpool or even Man U, right? Like a lot of the players that won the title with Man City, right? They took from Arsenal. Like, do you know what I mean? They transferred them, like, for instance, Nasri, Sagna, Clichy, Kolo Torre, Eddie Bayo. Like, not Eddie Bayo, like, and then, like, if you think about it, players like Kyle Walker, Sterling, like, all these players, Tevez, I mean, like, that went over to Man City, right? It's because they offered more money, which actually, technically, they couldn't do, lah. You know what I mean? Based on the principle of the financial fair play. Yeah. But if you were to ask me if you were to compare which is worse, I think Juventus is worse. Because, I mean, they are literally like fixing the score.
Jordan, what's your thoughts?
Thing is that Man City is like because nowadays football is like a business money making type of business lah. So definitely in context, business account trying to find loophole to generate more incomes for the club. Whereas for Juve's side, it's more of really match fixing, winning the gambling thingy. So it's not really into like business money making thing.
I get that, but I also do think that in terms of context with the Juve and Milan one, right? The club that benefited was also Milan lah. And if you've actually seen the documentary about Bad Sport about the Juve one, right? The Italian government or the Italian FA was kind of backing Milan over Juve. So there may have been like biasness or force of hand to be able to issue that particular punishments. And I do agree that in terms of let's say monetary infringements versus let's say match fixing, of course I would think that match fixing is worse lah, because you're influencing the result and influencing the league titles. So because of that, right, in comparison, the reason why I ask this is because the types of punishment that have been discussed for Man City are very similar to the Juve situation. In a sense where Juve got relegated and Juve had their league title stripped. I think it was 2 or 3. 2 or 3, right? So if we deem that the Juve one is worse, right? Does that mean that technically Man City shouldn't be dealt out equally as harsh punishment in comparison?
I think...
You go first. You go ahead. Okay.
I just think that, okay, even if it's not as severe, right? And then maybe in the case that they don't strip the titles that they won, the least that they could do is to relegate them for, like you said, infringement. They did like 100 breaches, right?
Yep.
Same thing repeated over 100 times.
Correct.
Yeah. So there has to be some sort of consequence, irregardless of whether you strip the title or not. You know, like moving forward, there has to be a consequence, like if they are actually found guilty.
Correct. So, Milet, what were your thoughts?
Well, sorry, what's the question again? Like, to make it clear.
In comparison to the Juve one, which all of us deem is worse than the Man City one, right? Should the punishment be as harsh on Man City if you were to compare both the Juve and the Man City things side by side?
Well, I feel that Juventus should have been punished harsher. So, so in a way, I feel that it's not wrong to just get the same equivalent punishment because I feel that they went lightly on Juventus. Yeah. So if you would ask me like that, I think, it'll be a fair punishment if Man City get relegated. But I think that if you were to ask, like, if let's say Man City get relegated, right, I think the bigger question is the same thing that happened to Juventus, right? A lot of people left. Correct?
Yep.
Like a lot of the stars left, like Cannavaro left, and then so many players.
Except Buffon.
Yeah, except Buffon and
Buffon, Del Piero, Nedved.
Yeah, Del Piero and Nedved lah. Yeah, but I just want to ask y'all, like, for fun, like, who do you think will stay if they ever get relegated?
Because I think current squad, the Man City squad.
Yeah,
a lot of them will leave actually
because all of them went there. I think it's mainly for money, right? I mean, like, I won't be surprised.
You got a $1 billion release clause, right?
Yeah. But I just want to ask also, right? Like, I'm not sure so much about the investigation part, right? But they only investigated up to 2019, or is it up to 2023?
2018,
yeah.
So technically, right, the past 4 years or so, they could have been like, but if they weren't investigated for that.
They weren't investigated for that. They weren't investigated for that.
And I think after the COVID thing, 2020, right, where the league actually allow clubs to pump money in to save the club, right? So I think the 2021, 22, like, can, like, it's actually legal for them to, it's actually legal for them to just put money inside.
Okay.
Actually, some fun fact, right? There's this random Portuguese guy, Rui Pinto. He's the one that gave out a lot of information to this German new publisher. So he basically got arrested lah. So that's how the Premier League board and the UEFA board start investigating on Man City. Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah. Okay. Milet, you got any more questions?
No.
Okay. Because my thinking is regarding the Juve situation and comparison, right? I do agree with me that I find that the punishment that was issued to Juve was a bit on the lighter side rather than harsh. Because match fixing is something that you can't really close one eye to lah. Or you have to dish out the punishment and you have to dish it out hard lah. So in the context of Man City, I think, like I've already mentioned before, I do think that adequate punishment is justified in terms of stripping league titles and of course the relegation lah. But my question also becomes, right, referring back to, let's say, for example, Milet's question of, like, who do you think will leave the club, right? I think I want to ask this question, and this one I'm not sure, right? How would this actually affect the players on the field? If, let's say, you're talking about this is just the beginning, in the next few months, I think more things will unravel also. And how will it also affect Pep? Pep and the on-field performances of the club as a whole. They won 3-1 over the weekend lah, but this is just one game after the major incidents. What do y'all think?
Yeah, I watched the start of the Man City game yesterday, right? You could tell the fans like really they are very riled up now because of the way the EPL is like treating them.
Yep.
So every like thing they feel like everyone's against them, right? So they play like super good now, you know. Like you see yesterday, I think the first 5 minutes they scored already.
Yeah.
But then against Spurs, they were like totally like passive and like not so inactive. Yeah. And then what better way to have like this momentum, right, when they play Arsenal this week?
Yeah. I also think, right, maybe from the perspective of Pep, I think there was a lot of news that was coming out that he was sort of losing the locker room, right? Because of the Cancelo issue. And then after that, he was having like issues with
KDB.
Yeah, KDB and stuff like that. To be honest, it's a very good thing for him because he's publicly come out and said that he backs the club, right? Because he believes what the owners are telling him lah. He said that there's no reason for me to be like untrusting of them. To be honest, I think it's a way, right? In a way, it rallies the club lah, because it can say like everyone's against us now. Like we're seen as the villains of the EPL. We're seen as the cheaters. So since we're going to be seen as the villains and the cheaters, right? Might as well rally together and win one title, like win a title. Yeah. So to me, I think it's not a good thing in general, but I think it's I would say it's like a beneficial thing for Pep in this moment, because he was like starting to lose the locker room. Yeah.
Jordan, what do you think?
I mean, to add on to what Midek say, that like, how do I say? I mean, Man City being charged by Premier League, right, for all this issue, but recently I also saw this news just today. They say that this Premier League side, they actually altered the rule and then they charge against them. I don't know how true is that lah.
Okay.
But they say some of it are being altered and then to charge against them. So I don't know how true is it. Yeah. So I mean,
okay, I spent like the past few days reading through the rule books lah. Generally, the rules are the same, worded exactly the same.
Yeah.
So the infringements, everything, they are worded exactly the same. It's only more towards, let's say, for example, the $105 million profitability and sustainability thing. Right? It came in about the time the fair play regulations came in, which is you're talking maybe about 2015, 2016 like that. So you're talking about the last 3 seasons, which was 15, 16, 16, 17, 17, 18, where those things of profitability and sustainability came into the picture. But generally, if you're looking at it as a whole, most of the rules are generally worded exactly the same. The only difference is that they change section only. Yeah. So I don't really think the rules were manipulated per se. I think it's more towards the fact that they probably just shifted the sections or shifted the arrangements of the rules rules, because they're different sections
or something.
But the wording, everything is identical. And the infringement that they have been focused on are exactly the same, just that they're probably just in different sections of the rule book in each year. So I don't think there's anything to do with the manipulation of this whole thing. So back to the point, we are talking about Pep rallying the club, right, and everything like that. What happens if the news comes out, okay, you're getting relegated this season or you're getting a points deduction? What happens?
Which one? Relegation or deduction? Which one? If it's deduction, you can just play for like Europa or something.
Correct. Yeah. So either or. So let's do into two contexts. Relegation and let's say a 15 or 21 point deduction.
Well, I think if they're getting relegated, right, it'll be only next year, correct?
Immediate. The start of next year. Immediate?
Immediate
I think
relegation.
it'll be the start of next season. So
correct.
It means that this season you're relegated.
So Championship got one automatically like get promoted.
No, but then I saw also they say actually the EFL, the Division 1 and 2, right, they have no obligation to accept Man City, no.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I was quite shocked by it, because I thought maybe they will include like maybe this year got 4 relegation team, or like Man City is one of them, and then you put 2 more EPL clubs.
So 19 teams.
But then apparently they say they have no obligation to accept them.
Yeah, then the Man City can go to the Saudi League.
That's
why now they want to Man City. I think will push for the Super League.
Of course,
but that's another issue. Yeah.
Okay. So if let's say the relegation, because I think if I'm not wrong, the UV1 was immediately the season following already. So it means that the season that they participating, they got relegated, then the next season is already Serie B already.
Yeah. No,
but then the league, what if they win the league now?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say, right?
Oh yeah.
I think it's very scary for like Arsenal or this, right? If they were to get relegated next season. Because it'll be like, they're really like, okay, this is our last chance to go and win
a game to push every game.
Yeah, so they'll just really rally around the team and then try to win every game.
Okay, then like that, I ask Jordan.
Unless Premier League says private that you win this season does not count.
Yeah, then that'll be different. Then I think maybe
there's a different story.
Yeah. Yeah, everyone will just like, you'll start to see like all the youngsters come and play. I'll play for what?
Jordan, what do you think? What's your thoughts?
Like you're saying, who will stay, right? Or will Pep stay?
No. I think more like what's he gonna do for the club morale if let's say they officially announce that they're gonna get either relegated or get a points deduction. So we're talking about relegation now.
I think relegations, right? I would say is a fair one. If in terms of if Pep will stay, I say yes, most likely, because this is the only club that he have close to zero pressure, not like when he was in Barcelona, not like when he was in Bayern. Yeah, so he have his own time to really restart. Now because it's the board's fault that they caused this.
Yep.
So even they will get to championship, it's not guaranteed they will get promoted again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they're gonna have like 120 points if they go championship.
Yeah. Then maybe Haaland will like
they can sign a Chris Wood.
Chris Wood. Okay, so that's our thoughts on relegation. What about if it's a points deduction? So let's say about 21 points.
Well, that would take them down like below top 10, right?
Yeah, they'll be in the bottom half lah. Yeah.
Actually, I would deduct them until a dogfight. Like really a dogfight for relegation.
27 would be...
Yeah, like really a dogfight. Like maybe...
21
like,
behind Liverpool.
Like,
21 points.
Yeah,
21
like
points.
6...
If they minus 21, then they will have 27 points.
Yeah,
but
like 6 points or 9 points
now.
away from the last club.
So mid-table.
Revive the rivalry.
They revived the old rivalries, right? But this is in the middle of the table.
But why 21 points though? It's just a number.
I think it's just a number drawing up because the Juve earlier this year
15,
got 15
right?
points. 15.
Yeah.
15, but I think that Man City's one is worse.
Wait, Juve, this infringement was what?
The transfers, the transfer.
Yeah.
Okay.
They inflate the price.
The I think it was the transfer price inflation, the Artemelo one.
Yeah.
The Artemelo. So if let's say they get 15 points for that, you compare it to currently, it's around there. Because my question after this, right, is that okay, if let's say 21 points, they fight for the middle of the table, they're looking to grab. What happens if let's say the EPL don't follow through on the punishment?
Yeah, I was gonna ask this next, right? How confident are you all, maybe El, we can answer, how confident are you that the EPL will follow through with the punishment?
Depends on the punishment though. If it's like immediate point deduction, then they cannot go back because it's just minus the number already.
Correct. So,
but if it's like a relegation, they say, wait until the season end, then we will continue investigation. Then I will not have much faith in it.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Okay. The reason why my thinking, right, is because what we've seen with City and PSG during the FIFA Fair Play under UEFA, right? And both appeals getting overturned. Already, UEFA looks like a joke. Because you are dishing out punishment, right, that is not followed through. It's like the moment I think it was last year when they had the FIFA, the financial fair play stuff.
2020, they got
PSG
banned in Europe.
Yeah, and PSG and Man City, right? All of us, I think we were all talking about this offline, right? All of us just went like, there's no way this is going to hold. They're confirmed going to get overturned. Because it happened more than
but all those times was under UEFA, This time it's like, the first time you see is like the EPL, like the league coming into action already.
Correct. So the thing is that my view is, I can look at it both ways. For EPL, right, you want to enforce the rule book,
you must get an FA.
You have to mitigate a harsh punishment, regardless of the situation. Because I feel that if you don't, right, and it gets overturned without substantial evidence that they didn't do it,
you get a snowball effect.
You're gonna throw your rule book out the window. Nothing you ever do from this point on with the rule book is ever gonna have any say already.
And they're gonna cheat because times 5 the amount of the severity of what they did,
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. So my whole thing is that if you create this rule book to enforce rules, right, but when they break the rules, right, you don't enforce. And you're talking about 100 plus infringements, and it's not different infringements, it's repeated infringements. You all let it go for a period of time already. So if you don't enforce it, then to me, the EPL and the FA will be a joke already.
Yeah.
To me, that's what it is. I don't know what the rest of you think. Like, Media, what do you think?
Well, I think that moving forward, right, if let's say they were to get punished, I'm leaning towards more of I think that they should get a harsh punishment. But if I were to, if honestly you were to ask me like what would the punishment be, right? I think it'd be some sort of a point deduction, not
immediate relegation.
Yeah, not immediate relegation. I think it's because Man City, they've been in the league for so long, and I think they're sort of a household name in Europe. All this, I think it'll be sort of I would say it's not say bad for the league, but for the marketing of the league, I think it doesn't because Pep's such a like big figure, and after also like the players also. Yeah, I'm not so sure. But I was gonna ask you, right? Do you know like Chelsea? They've managed to sign so many players, right? Like Enzo Fernandez, and they signed Mudryk, and then they signed it for so much money. Yeah, they sort of found a loophole to go and sign all these players, right? It's because they managed to go and put the contract length to be very long, correct? Which is like 8 years, 10 years, so they can sort of like branch the financial payments to be spread out over.
Or like next year I pay this amount, the year after I pay that amount. Yes. They don't pay all now.
Because I was watching the overlap, right? The Gary Neville and Jimmy Carragher, right? So Gary Neville was breaking down actually like this is how Chelsea sort of like they found a loophole to go and avoid this financial fair play thing. So that's the reason why you see like this. How come Mudryk got like 8 years, right, or something like that for his
Enzo also 8 years.
Enzo 8 years also.
Yeah, so you find it's like a bit weird, but it's a very NFL type of contract, right? Correct? Like they charge for long periods of time. I think maybe Man City they might adopt this in the future. Like it's a way to get around this loophole thing, which is the financial fair play, because you have to spend the amount that you earn, right, based on the revenue.
Correct. But if you do a long-term contract like 8 years, you're actually taking on a lot of risk.
Yeah, you are, but
because you essentially can't get rid of the play. You can't get rid of the player.
Yeah, but they
not
don't
for a while.
Yeah, because to be honest, they have all the money in the world. They don't.
Yeah.
It's not a business to them. It's like a glory thing to them. It's like they want to win, so they don't necessarily care whether It's just to them now is they're probably finding ways to skirt around the financial fair play, like what Jordan was saying just now. Like they're trying to find ways to like get money or like expend the money properly to get improve the team.
Okay. Paul, what do you think? If let's say the punishment is not hashed out or not followed through,
then the other EPL clubs will not because out of nowhere this EPL came forward with this charge. So if you come out with this, you better have some substantial evidence that they actually did it. And then if they actually did, you must be like firm enough to hand out punishment as well. So if you don't hand out, then you create all this drama and not say excitement, like episode or nothing.
Excitement.
Yeah.
Get more views on
exciting to see. Actually.
Yeah. If you have to bet your life, right, on it, do you think that they will give them relegation or point deduction?
Point deduction.
Yeah. So it means that they won't follow through on a harsh punishment,
Yeah, right. Because they only list out what the possible outcomes it can be, right? Which is point deduction, transfer ban, Euro ban, or worse is like relegation.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I feel like if they want like to really hand out punishment, right, they should get the FA involved also.
Yeah.
Because now it's the league only, right? If the FA come in, then maybe got chance.
I think, right, it's more of this type of predicament. George, before I get to you, I just chime in, but then after I'll just go to you. I do think that this type of thing, you have to get the English Football Association involved. To me, because it is your.
If it involves the other leagues, like the relegation, the championship, or this,
But it's not only that; it's because it is happening in your top flight of football. You are overseeing the entire Football Association of England as a whole, means all the leagues involved, from the Premier League all the way down to the lowest tier in English football, right? So if this is happening at your Premier League, your top line of football, and you don't intervene, it means that you're probably closing one eye to it. And I do think that at the end of the day, right, the punishment should be ushered out by the Premier League and the FA together in conjunction. To me, George, what do you think?
I just think that they should have a neutral type of jury type. Yeah, like they don't watch football and then they just tell you.
The Johnny Depp, the lawyer.
Camille Vasquez.
Did you or did you not?
Yeah, like you just invite some random jury that don't know anything about sport. You just tell them, is it fair or not fair?
Yeah, I think they are getting an independent committee to review, right?
Yeah, correct.
So I think
like what the UN of sport.
Yeah, I think so.
Is it a sports thing or is it a non-sports type thing?
No, that there are specific like conglomerations that they arbitrate this type of things that are sports-related issues.
Okay, I think right before, I think that's pretty much what we've got to discuss. Any more things before we close up this?
Yeah, I want to ask, El, do you think that they'll follow through?
Honestly, no. I really don't think so.
No.
No.
Who will follow through?
I don't have the confidence.
Do you think that the FA or the English Premier League, right, will be able to follow through with a harsh punishment? I don't think so, lah.
I don't think so because the reason why I don't think so, right, is because there's too much in terms of monetary revenue that could be lost.
Yeah,
that's what I'm thinking. In terms of money, yes, in terms of money, but if they are to do what they're supposed to do, which is to oversee and govern the Premier League and the football in England, right, they should issue out a harsh punishment. But you're asking me whether my confidence level of them doing it, my confidence level very low. Especially from what I've seen from UEFA lah. To me lah. So I don't think it will be followed through lah, to me. Yeah.
Can I also ask, right? When clubs get relegated, a lot of the contracts they have like a buyout clause, right, for a lot of the players.
Oh.
Yeah, correct, right?
Well, some players got if relegated I can leave, that kind. I have the option.
Yeah. Got some people it's like if I get relegated I can get sold for. Wow, I think it'd be like them shook.
like buffet.
Yeah. You give me this Ruben Diaz, you give me all the.
But the thing is that then I got this question: will City still sell to rivals or not? I don't think so.
Because they don't need money, but the players will want to leave what?
Yeah, they want to leave lah.
Right, but you are going to rivals. The only rival that I think that they will not sell to is Chelsea.
Yeah. Maybe
just give me the Kaki and the Haaland or something.
So little Chelsea take over all the Man City players, right? That'll be very sad. So Man City will never sell to United. That's one.
Yeah.
But that's if they're in a relegation, then no choice. Yeah. But right, are the clubs like doing anything? Like the other Arsenal, Man U.
Okay. This is what I heard. Wow. This is what I heard. There are 6 clubs that are asking for relegation.
6? All.
Can I guess the 6 clubs?
You should be all, yeah.
Yeah.
Is it Man U, Liverpool, Arsenal, Tottenham?
The top 6.
It's the top 6. No, that's what I heard because I heard on a video on Sky, right? I really cannot remember. I really cannot remember who were the ones. Who was the one that said that?
Wait. I remember Pep naming it during the interview. Is it Arsenal, Spurs,
Man U,
Liverpool, Chelsea, one more. Brighton or Burnley, I forgot.
Man U.
Man U.
I don't know about Man United, but
Man U
they probably would be inside 100% one.
Yeah,
they will be inside.
Yeah, they just probably got the message to the Pep Guardiola a bit late. They always do things a bit late.
No, because I think to be honest, right, the ones that will be advocating for relegations are the ones that are probably the ones that are going to benefit most from this.
Yeah.
Like Everton only should just go and
all
sign
the bottom ones, right? They don't really care lah. But if let's say they're getting relegated, right, then I would say that the bottom class should also advocate for relegation lah. So at least one of them survive.
What do you say? Everton should
3 spot become 2. Yeah, Everton is in 18 now.
Yeah, they're going down with Man City.
Actually, maybe Man City will be like immediate 20th place, right? Then 19 and 18 go down. Yeah, that kind. Everyone push up one.
Yeah, then maybe Everton will be like, don't get relegated because then next year we cannot come back up. Man City.
Everton got Sean Dyche doing the Burnley way of football, man. The Burnley way of football.
Yeah, see tonight.
But did you see what Pep said?
He said a lot of things. What did he say?
He went out guns firing. He was like, the reporter asking a question like, so do you guys like, were you like actually cheating? He said, is it your fault now? Then he said, it's my fault that Steven Gerrard slipped and fell.
Yeah. So that. Yeah. So
somehow that is my fault also. You see.
Yeah. When I was managing Barca, it's my fault. Yeah. Crazy times.
Okay. Paul, Jordan, any last things wanna add up?
No, I just find this like Pep recently being in the limelight even before the thing starts is when just few games before Man City gonna meet Arsenal.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, just like, oh, so the Premier League must come out with this thing. then
create all the anticipation.
Yeah, like, oh no, like, wow, when Pep was talking nicely about Arsenal and Arteta, then suddenly this thing, boom, oh, things change. Yeah. Then
There's
now
a lot of memes. Very funny. They say Cancelo went to Bayern, then he snitched. That he snitched on them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then now, if Arteta win also, when he getting the medal, he'll get arrested also.
The mafia, the conciliary, the second in charge.
Yeah.
Paul, any last words?
That's it, man. Yeah, let's just see how it goes, lah.
Let's see how it goes. All right, everybody, that's it for the Man City discussion. All right, everybody, that is it for our episode about Manchester City. Once again, for those of you who are listening in, thank you so much for joining us. And for those of you who want to hear more from the Chit Chatter Podcast Network, do join us for our shows every Monday, which is the Kopi Bros, and of course every Friday, which is our big game show, the SG Draft Podcast. So from all of us here at the Football Kaki and the Chit Chatter Podcast Network, thank you so much for listening, and don't forget to run the Kaki. Bye, guys.
Relegation.
Get out.
Out.